I think my husband's mistress thinks he is richer than he actually is. My best friend thinks I am a douche because I am keeping silent. Husband and you know because we are not married legally. Throwaway. Please let me vent here. He 39, me 39, mistress 29, and best friend 39. We have been together for 14 years. Living together for 11. He came and told me that he was in love about 3 weeks ago. I was surprised at the lack of F's I had to give at receiving such information. I did love him, but maybe my love has always been conditional and its survival depends on it being reciprocated because it literally vanished the second he confessed to me that he was in love with another woman. He didn't want a separation, but to maybe open the relationship or let his feelings for her subside. I said it was over. It was like I never had feelings for him ever. He was taken aback by my indifference, which I thought. The audacity. Did he want me to be hurt and suffer? I told him that he should be relieved that he didn't cause pain. Instead, he has been sulking since. Last Friday, I got home and Mistress was there, sitting in my kitchen sipping my tea. I felt nauseous because, seriously? I told them that this wasn't civil at all and to never be in my home again or I would call the cops. I went in my room and I heard her yelling at him for not standing up for her. Then I heard her say something very curious. Why haven't you kicked her out yet? He was trying to tell her to lower her voice, whispering. Later. We can discuss this later. She left and he came to me apologizing. He said, we didn't have sex here if this is what you were scared of. She just dropped by because I was working from home today. I told him that he had until the end of March to move out and to find somewhere to be during the weekends. This morning I changed all the locks. From now on he isn't allowed in my place during my working hours, so if he starts later or finishes earlier, he needs to wait for me to come home and let him in. But his mistress's words stuck with me, so during the weekend I have been stalking her social media. I think she thinks that he is rich, or at least that he owns my apartment. I think she also thinks that my parents' summer house and boat are his. Unfortunately, the loser has taken her there, probably bragging about his wealth because her hashtags were all about the good life. I was telling my best friend all of this, but she was more agitated than indignant on my behalf. She told me that he was a scum not telling Mistress the truth. I agreed. IKR. But then she said I was no better not explaining to her his situation either. I was dumbfounded, but she was serious. I told her that it wasn't my job to bring back Mistress to Earth. My best friend got very angry and demanded that I gave her Mistress's username so that she could warn her. No, I said. She called me a bigger douche than he is then. I don't know what's going on with these people. Have they gone mad or have I? When did our moral compass go ask you like this? Can someone tell me that I am not insane? Relevant comments. Your husband is twisted. He told you in the first place so to light a fire under your toes to make you fight for him or something. Rekindle your passion or something. He's not being discreet to get a reaction from you. And since that fell through, it'll be great when he's not living at the places the mistress came around to scope out. Your friend? Give her a couple more feet of space because she's not looking out for you right now. OP. I truly think the cheating was taking a toll on him, so he told me he wanted to open the relationship. He didn't admit at first that he already cheated. I don't know what to rekindle. We have had a very passionate and, at least on my part, loving relationship with lots of sex. But I can't make him love me or not fall for someone else. He is very sad now and crying all the time. I have never seen him cry before. It is awful because I feel guilty, but at the same time I don't feel guilty. I told him to seek mental help. Maybe he needs to sort out his feelings. But far away from me. Shouldn't he be over the moon now? Being newly in love? I remember nothing would make me cry when I was newly in love with him. Nothing could go wrong. Now he is sullen and morose all the time. Nope, not wrong. Get rid of him and wash your hands. Your bestie sounds delusional. OP. Phew, because I thought something was wrong with me when she got upset. You should question why your friend wants to side with the mistress instead to support you, her friend. OP. Believe me, I have questioned and speculated. I think her marriage started in a similar fashion to the mistress. Sometimes you're friends for so long, 35 years in my case, because you've known them your entire life, you don't see how different you are as people. Update. I had a showdown with my former best friend. I did it. I had a showdown with my former best friend via text, and I confronted her about her non-existent support when I went to her with my woes. I told her that she concentrated on the wrong issue. She should have been my shoulder to cry in. She should have shown up with wine, ice cream, and a shovel, but instead, she called me a bigger douche than my husband. She tried to gaslight me, and I realized that she's always been a good gaslighter, so I interrupted her before she made me out to be the villain. I asked her bluntly, was her husband's name married when you started sleeping together? You told us that he was married before. We all knew that, but we all were under the impression that he was married and divorced before you two met, but was he still married? Is that why you related to the mistress and felt sympathy for her? Because you were her? She didn't answer me until next day to call me a bitter and jealous bitch. Well, this was the last one-on interaction with her, I have decided. She's been my friend since preschool, but now we need to go our separate ways, not only to save us from future hurt, but also to save our memories together from hurt. I talked to my husband too and asked him not to make the separation difficult and bitter, that it ruins all the happiness we felt being together, because we cannot think back on 1/3 of our lives with resentment. I asked him to take my dad's offer. He offered to help him find a lease on an apartment and pay half a year's rent if he moved out without giving me problems. When I got home, he and his clothes were gone. He left an apology letter saying that he will always love me and never meant to hurt me. So I have finally been able to cry my eyes out, and it felt so good. I have been crying since I got home. I lost 2 of my closest people, but this is what happens when we hit hardships. We see people's true faces. This is my update. I don't know if anything major will happen to make more updates. It is time for me to move on. Relevant comments. Opie on being told she's kind. It is not out of kind-heartedness. I can't just kick the man out without a fight or a bribe. If I had started eviction proceedings, I would need at least 6 months to do so, and I didn't want him in my life for this long. So I am bribing him. Housing is very scarce and primary lease is almost impossible. My dad has connections with landlords, so he agreed to move out. He is living with his parents now until he gets his contract. I am happy it didn't get more complicated. This was what my lawyer advised me to do, because taking the eviction route would have made it drag for months.